Welcome to Offset. Larry and the Big Man, two-time Stanley Cup champion Jay Caufield and Dave Ricchini. Dave's kind of our Nostradamus and helps keep all the numbers straight. Looking forward to this episode. There is so much going on, gentlemen. Yeah. First, I want to thank Brian Hess, One Team Media, and his team. We got Ryan Jurgen and Logan Douglas, and the team I work for at Odyssey, and that's Michael Spacciapoli. Great strategic partnership. And we'll be talking to Andrew Fillipponi, afternoon host of 93.7 The Fan.
Yeah, and also the Rourke Automotive Group, our title sponsor, if you will. Dave and his group do a great job. They have, one thing to remember, the Rourke Advantage, lifetime state inspection, lifetime oil change, and also engine warranty. But they're great from beginning to end. Thanks for being a part of it, Dave.
Gentlemen, Where do we begin? There is so much to cover, but let's just dial back to Steeler, first division game. And it was the first game for me that felt like from the beginning, you felt the Steelers pretty much had control. Once they went up by 2 scores, you thought, we got this. Is that how you felt, Dave?
Yeah, they did what they needed to do. I mean, they were supposed to win the game. They came out and they won it. Now, 4-1. They're 3 games ahead in the loss column in the division after week 6, which is remarkable to think about, with a big game coming up, Thursday in Cincinnati. But mistake-free football, no turnovers, no sacks allowed, 100 yards rushing as a team. And we talked last week about how the Browns' rush defense was one of the tops in the league. So
number one.
Yeah, 100 yards doesn't sound like a whole lot, but they were able to sustain enough on the ground that opened up some things in the passing game. But yeah.
Jay, what was your takeaway?
Aaron Rodgers makes this go. I mean, first of all, they're in a mass unit division, right? I mean, the division's awful. Truly awful right now. Except I did watch I watched Cincinnati and Joe Flacco in the second half. Is it going to be a difference maker? Those guys feel like they get a breath of fresh air. The receivers, they're so good. But, I mean, that'll be interesting. But to me, truly, what Baltimore's going through and what the Steelers are just doing, Aaron Rodgers is the man as far as it's going, because the whole team feels it. We talked about the energy coming into the year because of him, and now he's living up to the hype. And you look at the one thing I get a lot of I can laugh about is how the New York Jets, how they treated him at the end, sent him on his way within 5 minutes of a meeting. He flew coast to coast. No respect. And they're 0-6, and Aaron Rodgers is kind of loving life here in Pittsburgh. So they're doing a great job all across the board.
Yeah, they found a new way to lose yesterday, the Jets. They had a win. They really did, and they gave it up and then had an opportunity late in the game. And Justin Fields just couldn't get it done. So I think, in retrospect, the Steelers made the right move.
Yeah. Well, if you look at it, I think they had net minus 10 yards passing, which is that really?
I didn't think that was possible.
I didn't think it was possible either. So he sacked 9 times. So net minus 10 yards passing. They had the ball in the second half, if you saw any of it, with around 3 minutes to go, almost at midfield, and they killed the clock. I've never seen to me, I don't know what that does to your team, let alone from the coach. I mean, what that decision making is such a bad. It goes through the team like they're wondering what are they doing. I mean, to me, I've never seen that happen really, because usually you have a chance to make something happen. You get the ball back in the second half. They're awful. They're awful. Coaching decisions terrible, and they're 0-6 for a reason.
Well, that said, we're going to get into the details, and we'll talk more about the Steelers' win that included 6 sacks from the Steelers' defense. However, in the second half of the Steelers game came an announcement. Did you expect it? A lot of people didn't expect it, at least this soon. James Franklin fired as the head coach of the Nittany Lions football team. Dave, you were there Saturday night. The wheels came off. What happened?
It was, I try to go up to State College at least once a year, twice a year. And usually it's the biggest game this week. This week wasn't, but I haven't seen a Penn State win in a long time, because we go up and see Ohio State, we see Michigan, we see, a high-ranked team. And we've talked at odds about Franklin's record against top 10 teams. 1-18 against the Big Ten, top 10 teams. But it was the atmosphere, usually 3:30 game up there tailgating, having some drinks, grilling out some food, going to the game, excitement. The stadium was dead. Like the student section, which is always late arriving, it can be. It was dead. And, I was there with my buddy, and I looked at him like, doesn't even feel like a Penn State game anymore. And then you see, some of the play calls and the players, didn't seem focused, mental mistakes, on just bad football overall. And then the second half, you get the fired Franklin chants going on. I saw a number of students with the brown paper bags over their head with fire Franklin. One kid was walking around selling them, and he was actually selling them to people. And then at the end, he gets booed off the field. And, unfortunately.
That's unimaginable when the team was ranked second in the nation going into the season.
Only team since 1978 to lose back-to-back games in which they were favored by more than 20 points. Think about that. And one of them was home. It's just no excuses about travel this time.
But people may say, okay, Dave, but Penn State's got to pay him nearly $50 million.
So who wrote that deal? Who's the one to give that?
Well, Sandy Barber was the AD when that deal was given out. She left about 4 months after.
Yeah.
But she didn't do that on her own. She has to have board approval for that kind of money expenditure, correct?
Yeah, it was kind of a panic move when it happened, too. I think they were afraid that he was going to leave for another position somewhere else. And
yeah, but
I think I saw something he's going to get it's equal to $20,000 a day for 6 years.
To not coach. It's the second biggest buyout since Jimbo Fisher at A&M. He was $76 million.
I would get fired for that deal. I mean, it's sad. I mean, the people that are fans of his, I don't know him. I've heard good things about him. He's, off the field. I don't know enough about him to comment. However, $50 million does take the edge off.
Well, but it's also you kind of feel for the assistants that are there with him and their families because they're not getting buyouts. So what happens to them after this season? And we'll talk more on Thursday about the interim head coach up there and maybe the next line of candidates. But I feel for those guys. And there's a lot of staff members. At one point I was at the game and, you saw like 30 people out there in blue long sleeve. I'm like, are they all coaches? Like, what are they doing?
It's the life of...
They still couldn't beat Northwestern.
You're in that business, though. That's the life of a coach and stuff like that. But with an interim coach coming in, they'll all stay on staff, and then you find out. But truly, probably when a new coach comes in, he's going to bring his own people and that kind of thing. But that world. It's a tough world to be an assistant or anybody on staff. It's difficult.
But you're talking about a university, great, proud tradition, so many fans, and they're talking about closing all these campuses around the state. And yet they're saying, well, you can give a coach $50 million to do nothing. Who made that deal? Who approved that deal? They're the ones that should be on the hook, too.
I did not approve it. I know you're looking at me.
You were there, guys. Come on.
Nope.
Fess up.
Nope.
Meanwhile, Terry Smith, who coached back in the day at Gateway High School, there's always a Pittsburgh connection, is the interim coach. Perhaps if he could find a way to get them to a decent bowl game and win a bowl game, maybe.
It's a terrible label. Isn't it? The interim coach, first of all, it's phenomenal. It's a great story for Terry Smith and what it means from Gateway coming from our side of the state. But that label is because if you listen to any talk show, all they're doing is talking about, who are the names that are up for the job. He's got to make a mark. He's got to make a run. And you know what? I think a team, we've seen it in every sport, in hockey especially. In the hockey world, when you make a coaching change, there's an immediate impact. It's more than any other sport. But this one has a chance because I think part of what Dave was talking about, that atmosphere, they know everybody, they're a lame duck. They knew it was going to happen. Did it happen? Did they expect it to happen that way? No. But I think that's going to bring out you're going to see a different Penn State team just because of the move. And yeah, people are going to feel guys who are close to them and all that goes with that. That's kind of part of that deal. But I think as soon as that change was made, you'll see a different Penn State team. I'm not sure how it's going to run from the quarterback side, but there should be a whole different level of energy that's going to come out this time around.
Yeah, Jay, it's overshadowed the fact they lost their quarterback.
True, yeah. Yeah, when he went down, it didn't seem like it was a hard hit. He was out there in the field for a while. When he limped off the field, and it didn't seem like it. And on the drive home, that's when I heard he was out for the season. And yeah, we get to see what Ethan Grunkemeyer can do. But to your point about Terry Smith, too, I think he's the right person for this position now because you can't fall flat for the rest of the season. They've already lost some of their commitments for 2027 Whippeal guys.
Khalil Taylor from Pine
Ridge. That was the dagger too, right? As soon as you start losing commitments, and I'm sure everybody who's donating money to this for the NIL deals.
That makes it really challenging. That's a good point now. It's different.
very-
There are vested, when I say vested, there are people that put big money into this and they want to see results. They're kind of the de facto GMs. They want results. So,
the part for me though, which is different in this world today, is with the NIL deals. It's, before there were student athletes playing a game. The scholarship, which was a great, that alone was phenomenal, right? Now they're getting paid money. And whether the coaching, whatever's going on, they're still expected to perform. And the people who are donating money to get that money to these players, there's no time for it anymore. So now we're talking about some guys making more money than guys in the NFL that are on Penn State. So
and coaches
that's where the
making
days
more
have,
money.
right? That's where it changes. Where all of a sudden you go, "Hey, I feel sorry for it." No, those days when you're receiving that much money to play a game in college, then you have to perform. And either he let him down in some ways, and we talked about losing the games over the years, Dave, but the players let him down too.
But I think with Terry Smith, not just winning the games, but trying to get those recruits back, and also Bob Palko's up there now too. He's got a role. So I think Bob
Palko's a great guy and a great recruiter, and
they've got their work.
They got their work, but
new life.
They're playing for pride now.
Right now.
Everybody wearing a uniform at Penn State needs to step it up.
Yeah.
For the pride of the university and say, okay, we're going to battle through this transition. None of that part they had a direct impact on, except this is a chance for them to, regain some pride.
And Terry Smith was close with the head coach, right? They were close. He brought him in. He brought him there. So he's going to feel that there's a part of that. He's great. He's going to be thrilled he has that job, but understands where it came about. I do believe when they walk out on the practice field today, it will be a totally different atmosphere because they're playing in front of a whole different crew than what they need to do. We watched other groups come in and replace almost how many players? We talked about West Virginia. 70 new players came in with the new staff.
Right.
Well, I mean,
it's Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And they're struggling. They're not there yet.
And Deion Sanders did the same thing in Colorado. A big turnover.
He had early success, but then they struggled. And then conversely, everyone was writing Pitt off. And when you think about Pitt's season, they had two disappointing losses. We're leading in the fourth quarter. West Virginia and then Louisville blew those leads. They're a few plays away from, they could be undefeated. But you are what your record says. They go down 10.5-point underdogs to Florida State and beat them. And that was a shocker I was there. The people at Florida State, nobody in that stadium wearing that burgundy thought that was going to happen. So he stacks 2 wins together. Now go to Syracuse on Saturday night. And
I watched that game. I didn't even think, I thought Pitt was really good. Dave mentioned even, we talked about the running back coming back in the game, Desmond Reed. That's a difference maker. And then the quarterback, he made it look, in my opinion, he made it look easy. Like, he just seemed to make the game look easy. Now, there was a couple of interceptions, I understand that. But, I'm listening to the announcers the other day, and I said this to Dave last night. The one pick, it looked like the one receiver might have fallen down. It was good. Then they said it was only going to the deep guy. I'm not so sure about that. But bottom line is, he comes in, and now that's new life with that team. Look what they could possibly do. Now, they got to stay on a roll, but he seemed unflappable. He gave up, 2 interceptions. You might start to falter, or the staff with them might falter. They didn't. They were the better team, and they played like it. And I didn't feel that was, even though it was kind of, looked seesawing back and forth. Just thought Pitt was the better team, being led by a true freshman quarterback that's got everybody behind him right now. They did a great job.
18 years old.
Yeah.
Mason Heinchel, remember that name. He could play. And again, they're on the road at Syracuse on Saturday night.
So quick question. So let's say he runs out the season and has a great finish for Pitt.
Now you got to pay him.
Yep. That's what I'm talking about. That's where this is a whole different world now. Now he's just not coming back as a sophomore. There's going to be money. Yeah.
I mean, what happened with Penn Hill's Duggar? They got a flash of him in the bowl game last year.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he's getting offers. Yeah. Now they got to figure out a way to keep Mason Heinchel, which
he did a great job for 2 games.
He saved the season.
Yeah. And Pat Narduzzi's got to make. Yeah, he made the move. You have to make the move. Their jobs are everybody's jobs are on the line by this performance of all their college players. And as I said, the money changes. Well, you're always going to be held accountable, whether money involved or not. But now, you guys being paid, it's it's a completely different feel for me.
Their season could have fallen apart. As you said, after West Virginia loss and Louisville loss, it's how they responded against BC and then this past weekend against Florida State. First true road test for the freshman quarterback. He passed that, and now a couple winnable games coming up, and see what happens at the end.
Yeah, they're feeling pretty good about themselves. Let's flip over to your Pittsburgh Penguins. We talked about a nice tribute. Mike Sullivan comes home Saturday night. They put a great video together of his success. The fans gave him a standing ovation. He almost it got a little misty, and why wouldn't you? And then the team fell flat.
Yeah.
Not his team.
No, not his
team. Yeah.
Our team.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it was a great start to their year. And I think, Larry, which is so great to talk to you on your morning show starting off the season, I just think that the Penguins, they came out in game one and they made the Rangers look bad, right? So the Rangers were embarrassed in their home building, and Sheelovs was a starter, which was a surprise across the board. Gets the shutout. He was very good. Then they come back into town and they're playing the Islanders. The Islanders were better, were more aggressive, were way more of a test for the Penguins that night. But they just, again, had another great game, and they've got the second line with Brazeau. A lot of new names that we're going to see and talk about throughout the year. But they got the goaltending from Sheelovs and Jarry on night two. And then they come in, and you mentioned it, the big Mike Sullivan night, Rangers coming back to town, and they were the better team. I mean, the Penguins right off the bat gave up shorthanded goal, gave up 2 power play goals against. You can't win when that kind of happens. And it was just kind of a flatter night in the building. I think with everything going on and build up, as soon as I mentioned, even on air, as soon as that shorthanded goal was scored, there was something different. It was almost, people are flashing back to the past a little bit in the last couple of years. But then they get a bright spot, and they got a young player in Kindle who gets his first goal. Yeah, Brunick who got his first goal at the start. There's a lot of great things to look at coming forward, but it's still going to ride. You need your goaltending to be outstanding. And maybe if Sheelof could, make a few saves here and there, the game becomes different. But when they get by and you're chasing a game, in the National Hockey League, it never works, and it's tough. But again, off to a great start. I think Dan Muse obviously has been doing the right thing. And guys, he's really pulling he's taken over the locker room, and he's had to do that. Yep, very good start. So we'll get into that throughout the year and as we're going, but they had a great start to the year.
We'll see how they do against the Ducks on the West Coast, and then get ready for the season. There's still a lot of excitement, though.
Yeah.
That was a disappointing night, but, you got
it was. It was. And I think truly, like for Mike Sullivan, we talked about him on air. We talked about him here. Truly one of the best coaches ever, right? Going to be a U.S. coach. What he's going to do for the USA, we'll root for him when he's coaching Team USA in the Olympics. But what he's done in the coaching world and the opportunity he got here from the Pittsburgh Penguins, he talked about it. Mario, what they gave him, and then to give him that start, that opportunity, and change his whole world. And his coach now he's coaching the Rangers, and I believe both places needed a change. He's good for him to go somewhere else. He's on the East Coast where his family is. And good for the Penguins. They needed to make a change as well.
2 things real quick on Thursday. What'd you guys think of the new yellow jerseys? That's one.
Oh, I like them. I like the jersey. Yeah. That's number one. Good. For me, I liked it. Larry?
I prefer the black traditional home jerseys.
Yep.
But
if they're going to do one, if they're going to have a third jersey, I liked how they represented what about the city. Those kind of things I liked about it. I'm not a yellow helmet guy. I like the black,
Right.
But when they came out with the jerseys and what they did, I was a fan of it, Dave. I didn't mind that.
And great to see Mario at the arena. And then
that
year afterward, that
when I saw that, it made me feel good.
Yeah.
Knowing that he's been disenfranchised over the past couple of seasons. He came to the Yager game last year.
Yep.
But to see him there smiling, taking pictures with Malkin, his son, Letang, the kid, it just made the fans feel good. For whatever reason, why is that happening? It just felt good.
I totally agree. I mean, to me, I've talked about it. Like when he's in the building, there's a different feel.
Yeah,
just in the building when he's there, and everybody knows he's up top. You know he's up top there. He has such an aura about him, right? In the sporting world,
100%.
When we play golf with him, Dave, there's a certain way how he handles himself, but what he means to that, and how again he's carried himself. We talked about ownership in the city of Pittsburgh and what he was about over these years. To me, it was great to see him in the building, and everybody wishes he would continue to be back. His wife, Natalie, was with him. Daughters had their kids with them. Austin is off playing golf. He's doing his thing, but the whole family there other than that, and it was a really great night. And I think, and he was there, the guys, 20 years, the three guys, the big three, what they've done. But both of you are right. Mario just brings something different. He brings a different element. And they can find a way to keep him somehow in that building.
We'll see where that goes. That's just a nice evening for that reason. All right, on our predictions, we all three picked the Steelers. Jay, you said 27-10. Dave, you said 16-13. I said 21-17. So we were all in the ball game and chose correctly. So who's the Yinzer Dog Player of the Week for the Steelers? There are many options.
Yeah, my options are Aaron Rodgers. I'm talking about. So I'm going to give you my three: Aaron Rodgers, Washington as the tight end, because right off the bat, the first play they threw to him, and what he means in the blocking game, in the running game, and I'm also my third one is Ramsey, because I thought he was dumb. I mean, you're seeing why that deal to me. He brings a completely different element. Truly brings something on the defensive side. Number one, attitude to go along with the other guys that have it up front. Now you have it across the board. You got it in the secondary. When he comes in and when he blitzes, I don't know if I've seen anybody better. He almost there's one blitz that they did a replay of it. He comes down when he gets a sack and he starts to shut it down, because it looked like he was going to throw the pass. He was able to kind of tap his feet and then explode out of it and make the sack. So of those three, I think the other guys have got enough awards in their life. I'm going to go with Washington as my tight end, who's my Yinzer Dog of the Week.
David.
Led the tight ends again in snaps, 47 out of 57. I know you're going to talk more with Pony about that coming up. He was on my list. Interested to see how the linebackers rotate in with Highsmith returning. Herbig, Highsmith, and Watt all played about the same amount of snaps, and Herbig had 2 sacks. He's on the list. I'm going to throw a wild card out there. He was a guy that I had dogged, not Yinzer dogged, but dogged in prior shows. Broderick Jones. I know his pass grade wasn't great according to PFF, but look at the stat line for Myles Garrett. 1 quarterback pressure,
that's it.
Tackles, no sacks. And like I said, he played a role in the running game, 100 yards against that Browns stout run defense. I'm going to throw him going and put him up.
It's funny you say that. I heard the guys on the fan talking about that after the game, that somebody called in and said, you guys owe him an apology because, he had a better game.
Mm-hmm.
Not so fast, but he did have a much better game against a very good defense and a future Hall of Famer. So, all right.
That's a good choice.
That's a good one.
Thanks, Jay.
I'm going to go with Jalen Ramsey. I just think Aaron Rodgers took a full minute in his postgame, unasked about Ramsey in particular, and said, look, I just want to give credit where credit's due. And he went on. So I'm going to go with Jalen Ramsey.
There you have it. There's even though I think Broderick Jones might have liked our Yinzer Dog package better than the most because of just the offensive linemen do that, right? Right?
Being a bulldog.
Yeah. So, but I think that's a great job. All of them. I thought that was a really good pick, Dave, but I'm the same, Larry. I think Ramsey was outstanding in their difference maker. They were very good. Good choice. So what do they get when they're Yinzer Dogs?
They get a Yinzer tailgate pack, which is original Yinzer dogs. You got Stanley P. Kachowski, Kielbasi, Babushka, Mama, Pierogies, and Yinzer Halushki.
Very good.
All right, let's
try someone
into the Steelers game. Time to check in from 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh. Part of the afternoon show with Chris Muller, the PM team, the one and only Andrew Fillipponi. Jay and I are very interested to get your take. A lot of things going on, but first and foremost, let's do a deep dive into the Pittsburgh Steelers game with the Cleveland Browns.
Well, I thought that the game went the way the Steelers wanted it to go. I mean, they were really, I think, concerned about the run game of the Browns and whether or not Cleveland was going to be able to hang around in the game because of their run success and also their success stopping teams' ability to run the ball. That had been the bread and butter of the Browns through the start of the season here, through their first 5 games. And that's what they had excelled at, which is a good formula, even though they haven't won really anything other than that one comeback win against the Packers. And I thought on both lines of scrimmage, the Steelers, for a second consecutive game, pretty much controlled the game. And Myles Garrett did practically nothing here. No quarterback hits, no sacks, was really out of the picture altogether. The Steelers had 6 sacks. They forced Cleveland to become a one-dimensional offense. They threw the ball over 50 times, and they went over 100 yards rushing against this top-ranked run defense. So low-scoring game for the first 30 minutes, 9-3. You let Cleveland hang around, but you do what good teams do, and you pulled away in the second half and allowed for Mike Tomlin to do what he probably wanted to do in this game, which is get some of his starters out late and get them rested up for the Cincinnati game on Thursday.
Yeah, and Andrew, you kind of just danced around what I was just going to roll with you a little bit on. The rookie quarterback starting against the Steelers, he really stood. He had no shot really in this game. If you looked, right from the first couple drives, you could feel the Steelers were just going to be in that dominating mode. I thought they did and you touched on it, but I thought the rookie quarterback, he was in a tough spot there coming in here the other day.
Well, absolutely. There's a reason why Mike Tomlin, over the course of his career, has such a great record against rookies. He also had 2 weeks to get ready for Dylan Gabriel, and the Browns had no rest at all after coming back from London, and they had to play a road game. So as far as what you could do to get yourself prepared for this game, the Steelers had a massive, massive, massive advantage. And I thought it looked that way. I mean, the first play of the game I thought was a great play call. Make it look like you're going to run the ball the same way you did against Minnesota, then slip Washington out. He was wide open. And it went for a big gain, and it helped them get the points they needed, even though it wasn't a touchdown, to get the early lead and force Cleveland to play from behind. I just thought the Browns offensively would have tried to run the ball more, even though it wasn't effective, wait for that dam to break, so to speak. And I also thought they would have come up with ways to maybe use the Steelers' pressure against them with screens and plays like that to try to take that pass rush and neutralize it and maybe force the Steelers to not get after the quarterback and kind of stay more committed to their rush lane. So, yeah, I mean, I thought absolutely Dylan Gabriel really was given very little chance to win in this game if you think about all the circumstances that went into it.
Yeah, and even on the defensive side, Andrew, I thought, I know that we talk about the linebackers, we talk about the defensive line when they're on fire, when they're going and getting sacks. To me, at Catalyst, and Larry and I talked about this too, Jalen Ramsey, for me, you watch what he's able to do. He takes this. There's an attitude now in the secondary that I didn't think was there before. He brings a different attitude, but him coming on the blitz, I believe he does that better than most. I mean, I thought he was a major, major piece to this win yesterday.
Absolutely. And I didn't think he was going to play. I mean, he didn't practice on Wednesday or Thursday. He went and participated on Friday, and with the short week, you could have picked your battles. You could have had him wait until Thursday. You could have had him skip both games altogether. And he helps them in every facet and every level of the defense. He played safety a lot in this game. He played outside corner in this game. He played slot corner in this game. He played 20 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. He blitzed the quarterback and was active in the Browns' backfield. He had 2 sacks. He had more combined sacks than T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett, which is crazy. So I actually thought he was the Steelers' MVP in this game. I thought him coming back and playing and being that do-it-all guy, basically being the guy that they labeled him as and advertised him as when they traded him, he was, I thought, the straw that stirred the drink for them in this game. And he's showing that right now, even on his third team, that he's still an all-pro caliber player.
Yeah, and that said, Coach Tomlin agrees with you, Andrew. That's why he's everything they thought he would be so far. And he was also our pick for original Yinzer Dogs player of the game. Because
and you know what that means. You know what that means, Pony.
Right on my care package is what that means.
Yes, it's coming. You're in line. And but you're first. We're putting them together. It's a little tailgate package with Yinzer Dogs, Stanley P. Kachowski, Kibasi, Babushka Mama pierogies that are made with love and touch by a little Polish woman with real potato, deep fried with some Yinzer dust and some Yinzer halushki. To be determined later when you'll get it, but I promise you will before the season's over. Let's talk about the offensive line. Broderick Jones has been, under great scrutiny, and rightfully so. However, on the game Sunday, he took a step, I thought, up playing against a fierce defense and neutralizing a future Hall of Famer in Myles Garrett. Your thoughts?
Well, it took a village. He did not do it by himself, but that's fine. I'm not going to grade him harshly, or I'm not going to grade him more negatively at all because it was more than a one-man job. It very rarely is a one-man job against guys like Myles Garrett and TJ Watt, and that's cool. I mean, they're not paying him $20 million a year yet. He's a first-round pick. They expect him to be a good offensive tackle, but good offensive tackles get help against Myles Garrett every Sunday. So really, when you take that into account with the extra tackle, Anderson, with Darnell Washington's assistance in both the run blocking and pass blocking department, really what you've done here is you've created, I think, a safety net, and you created, I think, a nurturing environment for him to get better as a player. And I didn't think that was there at the beginning of the year. He was more on an island at the start of the year than he is now. And they've become a tougher, more physical team. They have a personality now that those two guys are playing more. And I think that's helped Broderick Jones. And look, I don't care how fast you get the ball out, and I don't care how much help you give him. If you go up against the Browns and you don't give up any sacks, and Aaron Rodgers isn't picking himself off the turf every other play, that's a job well done. And everybody on that offensive line should get credit, including the guy that plays the most important position, left tackle, for what they did against Myles Garrett and the Browns on Sunday.
Yeah, Andrew, I know that leads me to bring up the Aaron Rodgers for me. I think we talked about it. As soon as he came into the organization, there was a buzz. And you watch what he's doing right now and how he's just handled it. It seems very unselfish. Like, it looks like they don't care about numbers. Obviously, everybody cares about numbers, but the point is that they're not overdoing it, but he makes throws still. There are a number of throws in that game yesterday or the other day that not many still can make that. He does it. And as I said, I think it's a very unselfish game he's playing. He's just about winning right now, and you can tell his reaction multiple times. I think there's a buzz about it because of who's really running the show at quarterback. He's been outstanding, in my opinion.
Well, he's been just what the doctor ordered. He's playing the position the way that the coach wants him to play it, first of all. And that's cut down on the mistakes, don't have self-inflicted wounds, and will have a complete team effort and win games that way. It's not asking him to put the team on its back. And so he understands that assignment. And to his credit, he hasn't tried to really play beyond that or outside of that. Now, where you see the Aaron Rodgers of old show up is that touchdown pass to Hayward, where it's kind of a broken play. And in the moment, he's directing guys and choreographing where the ball needs to go in order for them to score a touchdown. And to me, though, that's also something that I have to give the coaches credit for, because Larry knows this too. They rep these goal line plays more than any team in the NFL. They start every training camp practice with it. They do these 7-shot drills where it's 7 plays, basically that are 7 2-point conversion plays for the offense and defense, every practice to begin training camp. And so I think what happens is the repetition of, a lot of the times the defense knows what we're going to do because they know our playbook. So you've got to go outside of the offense sometimes. And that improvisational stuff, I think, gets worked on more by the Steelers than many other teams. And so when you combine that with Aaron Rodgers' obvious cerebral skills and thinking on his feet, I think you produce moments like that. And I honestly thought that was the turning point of the game. When they cashed in that touchdown, they gave themselves enough of a cushion against that Browns limited offense where, unless the Steelers really beat themselves, it was going to be almost impossible for the Browns to get themselves back in the game.
How about also the use, Andrew, the tight end, uses of the tight end? I mean, how valuable. You look at the size of what they have up front. It's on the tight end position. To me, it's unbelievable. And Washington being, the beneficiary of it yesterday, to me, it's just great work all the way across the board. And he does more. But I understand the blocking, everything that goes with it, but getting the opportunity to catch a few balls or be a targeted. What a great feeling for a player. And I'm talking mainly about Washington right now. It's outstanding feeling for a player.
Well, I think it's a good problem that right now Pat Freiermuth is your third best tight end. And that's not really meant as a shot at Pat at all. It's just what the other guys possess as their skill set. I mean, Washington is the premier blocking tight end in the entire NFL because he is built like an offensive lineman, but he moves more like a tight end. So he is a unicorn in that way. And he's just now, I think, coming into his own in the NFL. So you have a unique weapon there. Smith is a great run after the catch guy and is really a wide receiver in a tight end's body. And so I think he excels in the passing game more than Freiermuth does. So Pat's kind of in a weird spot right now where when you want to run the ball, you put Washington in. When you want to pass the ball, you prefer Smith. And he's kind of a hybrid of those two guys. He's not as good of a blocker as Washington. He's not as good of a catcher as Smith. So he becomes your third guy, which for right now, that's a good thing. When somebody like that is your third best tight end, it's fine. Now, where it ends up being an issue is, do you want to pay a guy that amount of money to be your third tight end? You probably don't. So that's something that's got to get fixed in the offseason. But as for right now, Rodgers was right about this. They have probably the best tight end room in the entire NFL. Hayward, their fourth tight end, caught a touchdown in this pass. You can't say in this game, you can't say that about really any other group of tight ends in the NFL.
We're with Andrew Fillipponi from 93.7 The Fan. Interested to get your take on the running game, maybe surprising some people again against a defense that was at one point number one against the run. What can you say about Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell? And you've got the rookie there in Caleb Johnson.
I liked what Johnson did in this game. I think Johnson right now is really miscast still. I think that his best production would come if he got consistent carries because that's what he did in college. But he's not going to get that opportunity here because of the two guys in front of him. So I thought to his credit, even in a change of pace role, he did well, and he got positive yardage and was a successful runner when he came into the game. The other two guys, I think, we've asked with Warren and Gainwell, or either one of these guys real number one backs. I think right now they're complementing each other well. They both pass block well, picking up blitzers. They both catch the ball out of the backfield well. I think Warren's a very tough runner. I think Gainwell's got very good vision. And so they might not have, overwhelming physical attributes or traits, but I think that they're good fits for what the Steelers are trying to do. And, they didn't have any huge plays per se in this game, but they generally speaking consistently got yardage that kept the Steelers out of a lot of second and long and third and long situations. So it wasn't pretty necessarily, but, I thought overall it was another passing day, another positive day from the run game.
What about Bengals Thursday night? Steelers on the road, some AFC North road action, as Coach Tomlin would say, and they're patched up and reeling too. You would think going in, we got this, but you never know. What's your take on that?
Well, Tomlin's got to change the narrative here because he's never won one of these AFC North games on a Thursday night. He's 0-6. He's lost these games to Cleveland like last year in the snow against Jameis Winston. So this has been a tricky spot for them. Now, I think they'll win because I think their offensive line right now is trending in the right direction. And Cleveland's Cincinnati defensive line is banged up. And I think Cincinnati's offensive line is a big problem. And Joe Flacco got pressured a lot early in the game against Green Bay, didn't get sacked, but pretty much had to throw the ball away. And that led to 3-and-outs and punts. They can't run the ball. Cincinnati's the worst running team in the NFL by far. The numbers back that up. I wouldn't be shocked if they were historically, through 6 games, the worst running team in NFL history. It's just been that bad. So there's no help there whatsoever. And they get behind in games, so they have to abandon it too. It doesn't work, and then they can't do it because they trail. So Flacco's going to throw the ball a ton, and you can't let Chase and Higgins beat you, and you can't give them extra possessions with turnovers. So I think if the Steelers do those things, they'll win, and teams have been able virtually all year to go up and down the field on the Bengals defense. So I think this is the night that the story changes, the song changes here, and the Steelers finally get a road AFC North win on a Thursday.
So, Andrew, real quick, we just talked about the worst running team in the league. Is there anything, have you ever seen anything like a New York Jets -10 net yards passing and the coaching decisions that they made at the end of the first half with 3 minutes to go and just running the clock out when you're almost at midfield. I've never seen anything like it. I can't imagine if I was an owner of the New York Jets and what I just witnessed.
You know what's crazy about that, Jay, is you heard Aaron Glenn after the game. I think he felt that game that they played in Denver was how they were going to play all year, meaning their defense finally played well enough where their offense could play turnover-free football and hang around in games. Justin Fields hasn't thrown an interception all year. It's a crazy stat for an 0-6 football team. But there also have been, after the Steelers game, there's basically been no big play offensive pass. Like the air attack has been grounded completely to the point where it was the worst passing performance by a team since 1994 to have negative yards. And if I'm the Broncos offensive guys flying back from London, I'm not very happy with myself. I mean, by all rights, they should have lost. They had nothing to do with winning that game. It was all the sacks from the Denver defense and the fact that I thought Aaron Glenn made another questionable decision. He should have tried a field goal from 60 yards at the end of the game instead of going for it on fourth down.
Yep.
All right, last 60 seconds, your take on James Franklin getting the boot at Penn State.
Well, it was going to happen. You know, it was bound to happen after they lost the Northwestern game. They've never had a season under Franklin with higher expectations than this one, where they brought all these guys back and they started the season ranked number 2. It's just the shocking part is just how fast it fell apart. They were in overtime with Oregon. They were literally a play or two away from beating a top 5 team and producing that like signature win that he's been looking for. And to go from that less than a month ago to fired is just a startling change there from a university that, let's face it, they haven't had to fire a football coach for football reasons ever. We know what happened with Paterno there. It had nothing to do with football. Bill O'Brien left on his own accord for the NFL. So this is literally uncharted territory for them. In the brave new world of college football with all this money involved that's going to players and everything else. And I just feel like there was pressure there to keep up with the Joneses. And it's more than at any other time, it's heightened by the fact that you need that cash register to keep going. And I think they were nervous there, even though they had to cut a $50 million check. If we keep this guy around, are the people that funnel money into the program, are they going to stop? And if they stop spending, then who cares what we owe this guy? It's probably cheaper to pay him $50 million than it is to justify keeping him. So I get it. I understand it. I think it was the right call. And now they just have to go about finding his replacement, which is obviously already, Larry, created unbelievable headlines, and the names that have come out here to be potential successors to James Franklin are just crazy.
All right, Jay, offset with Larry and the Big Man. Another great conversation. We want to thank our team, Ryan Jorgen and Logan Douglas, from One Team Media with Brian Hess and Odyssey Pittsburgh, which is Michael Spacciapoli. We appreciate the strategic partnership.
And also Dave Rourke and the Rourke Automotive Group. We really appreciate you being a part of us as well. We talked about their lifetime state inspection, lifetime oil changes. Jump on board. They do a great job. Thanks, Dave, for being a part of it.
All right, thanks, Jay. Great talk, and we'll catch you on Thursday. It's Offset with Larry and the Big Man. That's a wrap.